All right, let's do some adding integers and see how this works out. Well, these are integers. Remember our number system. So we have natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Integer definition are whole numbers, so positive numbers, and their opposites. So basically, it just wants to make sure you understand how to do this on a number line. This means I jump to 3 units, and then I go 4 more units, and I'm at 7 units, and my answer would be 7. So it's just getting you familiar with how to use a number line. Negative 2 plus negative 5 says I'm going to go left 2 and left 5 more. I'm going to be at negative 7. Or I say you borrowed $2, you borrowed $5 more. That means you're going to owe $7 in the end. Or you could do a picture and you could say open and closed. You can say that this is negative, represents negative, and maybe that represents positive. So this would say I have 2 negative plus I have 5 more negatives. That means I have 7 total negatives, okay? Or on a number line, you go left, left, and then you would be at negative 7. Lots of ways to look at this. You went left 5 units, left 4 more units, you're at negative 9, okay? Just think about a number line or think about temperature. You dropped 5, you dropped 4 more, you're at negative 9. You dropped 3, you dropped 8 more, you're at negative 11. Okay, now this one's slightly different. So this means you headed right 7 units, but then you turned around and went left 11 units. You went further left than you did right, which means you ended up with a negative value here. So this one, your answer is going to be negative 4. I think of it as, remember, commutative property doesn't matter which way you add these. You had $7, you spent $11. That means you're going to owe somebody $4, okay? So think of it that way. Or think about a temperature. It went up 7 degrees and then all of a sudden it dropped 11 degrees. That means it's really cold out because you dropped further than you went up. And remember, you always start at 0. Same with this one. I went left 2 units and then I turned around and went right 9 units. I went right further than I went left. And so I knew I was going to be positive. So you can say, I had $9 in my pocket and I spent 2 of it. That means I still have $7 in my pocket. So really, when there are different signs like this, you're just subtracting. And when you subtract, you take the value of what you have more of. You take that sign, okay? So when they're different signs, you're just subtracting. When they're the same signs, you're adding because you're going in the same direction. Okay, so think of it like this. If you have 2 up arrows, that means you're adding 2 positive numbers. So you're going to add them together and your answer is going to be positive. It's pretty simple. You're going to add them together and your answer is going to be positive. If you have 2 negative numbers that you're adding, you're still going to add them together because you're going left and you're going left more. So you're adding to your negative values, but this time your answer is going to be negative. If at any time your arrows, you're going up and then you're going down, that means, or you're going right and then you're going left, that's a subtraction problem. And your sign will be whatever you have more of. So in this case, I'm going up and I'm going down and then up, or you can say I'm going left and I'm going right. Whenever I'm going in a different direction, I'm subtracting. And so I subtract these 2 numbers. And then I notice that I have more positives, so my answer will be positive. So here, I'm going in different directions. I turn around and I subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3, and I go back and I look. I'm going further right, so that means my answer will be positive. I'm going in different directions, right then left, so I subtract. but I noticed we went left more than we went right, so my answer will be negative. It's pretty simple. Going in two different directions, so I subtract, and I notice I went right more than I went left, so your answer is just 1. This time I'm going left more than I'm going right, so I know my answer is going to be a negative. So I'm just subtracting those two numbers, and I know my answer is going to be negative because I went left more than I went right. You went left more than you went right, so you know you're going to subtract, and you know your answer is going to be a negative. This one, you went right more than you went left, so you know your answer is going to be positive after you subtract. On February 1st, the temperature at dawn was negative 22. By noon, it had risen 19 degrees. So negative 22, but then it went up 19 degrees. What is the temperature at noon? Different signs, right? So if they're different signs, I know I'm going to subtract, and I know it's still going to be cold because I still have down further to the left than I do to the right. There you go. We'll get there. There you go. It's negative 3. Still cold. Dave started his hike at 32 below. So if it's 32 below sea level, isn't that negative 32? And he gained 29. So that's a positive 29. So at what altitude did he complete his hike? Oops, I went too fast on that one. So negative 32 plus 29. We know he's still below because you went further down than you went up, and then 3. Same process here. You should group things together. One of the things that you should be familiar with is, like, if you had negative 8 plus 8, do you understand that those are opposites and additive inverses of each other, and they make 0, right? Because if I go to the left 8, then I turn around and come back 8, I'm back at where I started, which is 0. So I know this is going to cancel this, and your answer is negative 4. So remember, this is called additive inverse. Okay, keep that. It's an important word. We will use it a lot when we hit chapter 3. There we go. So here we are. I don't see any additive inverses in there. So it's up to you how you do this. You could just work through it this way, or you can group your negatives and group your positives together. Whatever works best for you. So if I just went the way we're going, opposite directions, I subtract, right? I have more negatives. Opposite directions, I subtract. I have more negatives. Opposite directions, I subtract. And I have more negatives, okay? Or put your negatives left and left, makes negative 12, plus 6 plus 2 is 8. Opposite directions, subtract. You went further left, it's negative. So you can do it either way. Group your positives and negatives, or just go along and solve your problem. Try this one. So pause it and try them. Same process here. I look at this and I see zeros, negative 9. I look at this one and I could decide to put these two together. Get negative 6 plus positive 16 is equal to positive 10 because I have more positives. Done. Chapter 2.2. Good luck.